Hey guys, it's Elizabeth with the Four Walls Podcast, and today I'm Erika joining. Thank you so much.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me on here. Hi, my name's Erika Omaña. I'm a first generation Latina from South Central Los Angeles, California, born and raised. My parents were born here in Mexico. I've been back and forth between Mexico and LA most of my life. About a year and a half ago, I decided to quit my corporate job and follow my passion for wellness and cultura. I now host Wellness and Cultura immersions for women here in Mexico City and have permanently moved to Mexico City. So now I currently reside here in Mexico.
How beautiful. I love that for you. What gave
Thank you.
you the idea to quit that stable job and be like, you know what? I'm gonna do something that makes me feel better.
It was a really long process, honestly. Like, I think there's a lot of behind the scenes that for sure, I would say most people don't know. I think now what most people see is like, oh, she quit her corporate job and she lives in Mexico, but there was like, first off, it started with therapy, to be honest, because while I was in corporate, I knew that there needed to be some sort of change, but I didn't know what the change was. Mind you, this was 6 years into corporate already. I had climbed up the ladder. And so what I thought needed to happen was I needed to switch my job. So maybe a different company, like maybe I'm done here. Maybe I need to start looking. So I started applying for other jobs, doing the same thing. I used to do real estate operations for a real estate investment trust. And I love operations. My brain very much works in a logistical mindset. But what I was doing, I wasn't passionate and I wasn't happy, to be honest. And so I started with, oh, maybe I need to switch jobs, right? And so I started looking for other jobs. I started applying and I was getting some callbacks, but they just weren't aligned. Like they either didn't want to pay me what I knew I deserved to be paid, or they just weren't in the area, or they just weren't what I wanted them to be and what I was looking for. And if I was going to make the switch from the company I was working for, I wanted it to be something better, right? And nothing was aligning. And then the ones that I really, really wanted, like they weren't calling me back. And so then I started looking inward. I was like, okay, I've been knocking on all these doors and like nobody is opening the door. So maybe I'm knocking on the wrong doors, right? So I started looking inward and I started seeing a therapist because what started coming up was, am I supposed to be leaving my 9 to 5? Like, is this what's supposed to be happening? But as a first generation, like, one of the biggest things that I feel like I'm speaking for most first generations is our parents tell us we need security. We need the stability because that's what they come to the country for, right? They're searching for that security. They're searching for that stability. So it was like, go to school, go to college, get your degree, get a corporate job, get the security, get the stability, get all the things. And that's what I was struggling with. I was like, there's no way that I can leave my 9 to 5. Like my family has given up so much. They've sacrificed so much. Like this can't be it. And so, yeah, so I started seeing a therapist because I was trying to figure out like if this is something that truly was aligned for me. And at that same time, I was also trying to figure out like, what are my passions? What makes me happy? If I were to quit my job, what would I even do? Because I didn't have any of those answers. And all while traveling as well. So the travel is what really opened my mind to begin with. Like I started traveling even before the therapy, even before me trying to figure out like what am I doing? And every time I'd come back, it was a this like our world is so big. There's no way that this is what my day to day 40 hours a week should look like. Like that's what travel did for me. It like literally just opened my mind. And it wasn't so much of like, oh, I deserve to be on a beach drinking a mojito, like it was more of like, no, this world is so big that I can be doing so much more than just what I'm doing right now. And so all three things were happening at the same time. And the more I came to Mexico and then I would go back and the more I would like even just visit other places, but I think more than anything Mexico, I was like, okay, I would love to live there. So I had that feeling. And there's only been two places in the world that I've traveled to that have made that I've felt like, oh, I would love to live here. And one of them was Mexico City and the other one was Barcelona. And the reason for Barcelona is because Barcelona reminded me so much of Mexico City. And with the history, it makes sense. Like there's a lot of neighborhoods that look a lot like Mexico City. So, yeah, so then, it after that year of therapy and after going through all of that, I didn't even know when I was going to quit. I didn't even know like what the plan was, but I was just doing all the things, right? Taking the steps, working towards just really trying to figure myself out. And I'm so grateful for my therapist and all the people that were part of that journey when I made the transition, because it was probably one of it was the scariest decision I've ever made in my life. Like I was terrified. I really was. But it is by far the best decision that I've ever made. And yeah, I mean, there's no turning back at this point. It's been over a year and a half since I left my corporate job.
Wow. Yeah. Shout out to you for doing that because I could only imagine the fear and you really pushed past that and look at you now. So what does life look like now in creating these wellness trips?
So it all started with, like I said earlier, like I love operations, I love organizing, I love, just taking care of things from A to B, like start to finish. So I knew that I wanted to do operations. And as part of me trying to figure out like what am I passionate about and what makes me happy, I really just started reflecting and literally looking at my own personal lifestyle. And I'm really big on wellness. I'm not a facilitator, like I don't lead yoga or any type of wellness classes or anything, but I am part of them, And so I was like, well, how can I tie both of those worlds? How can I tie my operations, my love for operations and my love for wellness? Because I wanted to do something that felt like it was part of my lifestyle. Like I didn't have to change my life to start a business in something that I didn't really understand or so that's where wellness events started happening in LA first. So I used to organize wellness events. And then over time, as I continued to travel, I finally made the decision. I was like, okay, I think it's time for me to move to Mexico. And when I started thinking of that, I was like, well, if I move to Mexico, like, what am I going to do? I can't have wellness events in LA while living here in
Hmm.
Mexico City. So then that's when I blended literally all three worlds. So my world of wellness, my cultura, my culture, and my love for travel, and really just getting women to one, get out of their comfort zone and make that step, even if they were to do it by themselves or with a friend, but just simply getting out of their comfort zone to one, come to Mexico City or come to Mexico, period, and take the time to really just
Hmm.
invest in themselves. So anyway, so I blended all three worlds, and that's where the wellness and cultura immersions came from. And that has been really exciting. Like being here in Mexico has really allowed me to immerse myself in my culture. And I'm only hiring Mexican facilitators. So yoga instructor, breathwork instructor, any of the cultural experiences, those are all being led by locals. And it's been really, really cool because I'm actually like building connections with these people because at this point, like some of them are my friends from me just being here and like connecting with them. And it's been really easy for me to connect with people because I think it's because I know exactly what I'm looking for. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, fun more than anything, I'd say has been the experience with my immersion so far. And that's literally what I've prayed for.
That's amazing. I love that you were able to combine literally every aspect of what you love in life and you're like, yes, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you went from corporate to be doing your wellness in LA to then moving to Mexico. How did you set yourself up to make those transitions? Because those are really big transitions.
You know, it's so interesting to me every time I talk about this because I used to consider myself a very fearful person. And then I have these conversations and it's like I'm a very fearless person.
Mm,
And I've had to, it's almost like my brain and like my actions, like my body, like the decisions that I make aren't aligned and like they're finally aligning because I'm accepting the fact that I've made these very courageous decisions. And I'm like, okay, I'm telling my brain, like, hey, I am actually a fearless person. Like, I am very courageous. Okay. So leaving my corporate job, to be 100% transparent, I did have cushion financially. So I set myself up to expect not to have any income for, I want to say, between close to a year of cushion. And what was really interesting, and this is when I knew that things were aligning, literally. So I left corporate on yeah, in September. By December, I connected with a woman who to this day is still my client and she is absolutely my one of my favorite clients. We met at the wellness gym that I am a member in West Hollywood in California. It's called HiMat. I absolutely love it's a luxurious fitness social club. And it's very easy to network and connect with people that are in the wellness space. And I met her there and we started working together. I started organizing events for her, wellness events. And now I do her content. And now I'm also organizing her retreat in Italy and Costa Rica this year. That I didn't even have to really use my cushion because I all of a sudden had, and this was like my first client, and I was like, oh my God, like literally within 3 months of leaving corporate. So that was really helpful because I think for me, the biggest thing was finances. Like, oh my God, how am I going to survive? Like that, I think that's one of the scariest things. Like, where's the money going to come from once you leave? So that made it really easy. And yeah, she was literally like my first four-figure client. And I was just like, oh my God, okay, this is meant to be. Like, things are going the way that they're going. Like, this is definitely meant to be. So started doing that. And then while also like hosting and connecting and networking my own wellness events, right? And then when I made the decision to move to Mexico, I have my dual citizenship. And so I have both my Mexican passport and my US passport. And I started doing all the steps. Like I started, one thing at a time. And when I finally made the decision of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I move abroad and still be able to make money, yeah, made the jump. And I now live here. And like I said, I was able to move everything that I'm doing, basically everything except for the wellness events online, right? So content creation, I do UGC. As I shared, I do have a client that I curate other retreats for, all while still building my business. So that's how I've been able to set myself up financially to continue to like move myself forward and still not like be super stressed out about money.
That's awesome. So what do your wellness trips look like when you have people come out to Mexico City?
So they are a blend of wellness and Mexican culture. And what I mean by that is you get to experience yoga, breath work, and a sound bath through the lens of Mexico City. And I say through the lens of Mexico City because, well, one, it's being led by a Mexican local. And two, what makes it really unique is that it's in Spanglish. So you don't have to fully speak Spanish to understand what's happening because there's like English tied into it, but you can also feel like you're immersed and if you don't know Spanish, you are hearing a facilitator speak both and it's a really really unique experience. The first time I experienced like a Spanglish yoga class, I was like this is so cool. Like I'm fluent in Spanish, but I just still thought it was so cool because I'm like I thought of so many other women that maybe might be intimidated by the language and they're like, I don't know the language, like how would I go? Like, there's a lot of factors that go into place when a lot of women don't want to travel because, they're afraid. But I thought that was another thing. I was like, oh, that's a really, really unique experience because you get to hear some Spanish, but you still kind of understand what's happening because it's also in English. So that's the wellness. And overall, the entire experience is basically a return to your heart, a return to yourself. And so everything that we do, there's always going to be some sort of wellness tied into it, even if we're not practicing yoga, right? So what I mean by that is like practicing how to use our senses and be mindful and be present, right? Because that's the most important thing. And that's something that I've taken from travel. Like literally I've been in the most beautiful places on this planet and just like just take a moment to really be present. And I'm like, wow, like I'm really here.
Hmm.
Like the first time I went through that was in Italy. I was like mind blown. I was like, this is so beautiful. I cannot believe I'm here. And that's part of what I want to practice with the women as well, right? Like to stay mindful through the entire experience because that experience just becomes so much more meaningful when you are so grateful and present. Like it just really expands your mind and your heart more than anything. So then the other half of the immersions is we literally immerse in the culture, right? So with food, with history, with cultural experiences. One of my favorite ones, and mind you, I've done everything that's part of this immersion, I've been part of it. Like taken the classes, I've gone to the experiences. I want to be able to experience it myself before I decide to add it to my itinerary, right? So it's not like I'm just building an itinerary and I'm having girls just show up. Like everything is, all the details are very intentional. One of my favorite experiences that we are going to do is we're doing a baking class. So because I'm doing it for Dia de Muertos, which is Day of the Dead, we are going to do Dia de Muertos, during that time, there's a bread called Pan de Muerto, which is a very traditional bread that is only, you can only find it during that season. So we're gonna bake that bread. So, and when we get to go to like a local baker's house and actually like bake the bread and like, again, practicing how to be mindful and like baking is a form of meditation. I'm not a big baker by any
Hmm.
means, but when I took the class, I was like, wow, I felt so present because I was like focused and I was like the bread and the sugar and paying attention. And I was just like, oh, this is great. So yeah, so there's just, there's museums will be going to the hot air balloon over the pyramids and learning about the pyramids and the ruins and the history of that. So yeah, so it's half and half. And again, tying both of them in, and overall, like I said, is just a return to your heart. I think more than anything is just everything pouring in so much love. And I continue to say, like, this is a return to your heart. I want people to come to Mexico City and feel like it's a tight hug the entire time.
That is so beautiful, and what a beautifully curated trip. Like, I have never imagined going, like, traveling somewhere and, like, literally going to someone's house and baking at their house. Like, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, it
But
is. When I first did it, I was like, this is so cool. I would love for, I'm always thinking of others when I'm experiencing this. Like, first is my family, then it's my friends, and then it's like, wow, my community. Like, if they can all experience this, like, I can change just something slightly in their heart or open up their minds or open up their, whatever it is that they're going to expand their life in whatever form that they're looking to expand, right? Not necessarily anything specific, but whatever they're going through, like if I can just open up your heart a little bit more or open up your mind a little bit more, like I'm happy.
absolutely. So, when you do these group trips, do you cap them to like small groups, or how, like, what does the atmosphere of the people that are attending look like?
Yes, they are very intimate. 15 is the maximum. So I want to intentionally keep them that way. I might make them even smaller. I don't know, but right now 15 is the max.
Yeah, and so like when you do them, does everyone stay like in like a community, like all at the same hotel, or is it kind of like you like pick your own hotel and like you meet up together? Like, is there still freedom within doing everything?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think is very important when planning travel, and I think this is more of like my preference, is one, I don't like to have a jam-packed itinerary. Like, yes, I
Mhm.
love being super organized and having things ready and reservations and all the things, but when I travel, like the way my style is I have top things that I want to do, and I know that at some point on that trip, like that's the one thing I want to do, or the three things I want to do, or whatever it is. So I kind of carry that over with and then everything else after follows, right? Like whatever else, once I'm in the city, like I kind of figure out what else I want to do. So I kind of carry that over into my itinerary. So the way that my itinerary is set up is they are all staying in the same hotel, and it's this beautiful luxury boutique hotel in like the heart of Mexico City. It's very safe, very walkable neighborhood, and so they're all staying in the same hotel. I want to say, yeah, every morning we will be together, and then most evenings there's free time. So like after lunchtime, there's free time for the girls to do whatever they please to do. And I am offering like free concierge support. So like if they want ideas of what to do like in the evening, or if they need help making a reservation, or if they, maybe want to connect with another girl that wants to do the same thing as a form of bonding, I'll take care of all of that. But the evenings are all open for the girls to do whatever, they want to do, except for there's 2 nights because we have a welcome dinner where we'll all sit together, we'll have dinner together, and then the farewell dinner, of course. But every day there's like big blocks of time for them to just like, I really want to encourage them to explore and wander, because Mexico City is like the perfect city for like just wandering around and stumbling across like some of the most beautiful like things you'll ever find here. And to this day I still do that. Like I prefer to walk. Like I don't drive here. I either walk or Uber. even if it's like, oh, a 20-25 minute walk, I promise you it's going to be a lovely walk and you're going to find something really cool. And it happens every time for me. Like yesterday I was on my way to work and like to go look, I go to my go-to coffee shop to get some work done. And I decided to go a different route. And as I was walking, I look over and there's like a coffee shop, but it's just the sign on the outside. And it didn't look like a coffee shop. And I like look inside and it was this beautiful, like historic mansion. It was like a clothing store in the front. And so I just walked in. Sometimes I just like walk in and if they tell me to get out, I'll get out, but it's always like open to the public. And so I walked in and I had to walk through all this like greenery and trees and that's so beautiful. And I got all the way to the back and there was a coffee shop. I was like, oh my God, I found a new place to work from. So I ended up just working from there instead. So that's why I encourage people like if you're in Mexico City, walk, like don't Uber. You'll have a much better experience walking.
Love that. I'm definitely the same way where I'm like, we can walk around the city, find some cute little shops that maybe you wouldn't go
Yes.
to on Google Maps.
Yes. Yeah, no, literally. And like I also want to get my 10,000 steps in. So
So, what are some of your favorite like restaurants or things to do in the city outside of your wellness retreats?
oh my God. Okay, that's a really hard question. Like if I literally were to open up my Google Maps right now and show you, it would literally just be a bunch of blue dots everywhere because I have so many places saved. It's crazy. It's so like dense. Okay, favorite. Okay, let me think. Favorite. So it really depends, right? So I have like if I'm thinking about like, because I put together a guide for anyone that's interested in like where to start if they're planning their trip to Mexico City. And I broke it down into like three sections. So there's like hidden gems, there's like the iconic restaurants, and then
Mhm.
there's like the fine dining because I love to fine dine. So I'll start with fine dining. So I'll give you three. My favorite fine dining is so this is everyone's always surprised when I tell them this because they're like, what in Mexico? So I've had some of the best sashimi at this restaurant. It's a fine dining sashimi restaurant called Ryoshi. And when I went for the first time, they had this really, really cool ceremony. It's called a ronqueo. Basically, and I sat at the bar. I got really lucky because we didn't have reservations and we just so happened to get seated at the bar. And usually the bar is like not the best place to sit at, but for this particular like ceremony, it is because
Mm,
at the bar, they lay out this giant tuna, probably like, I don't know, 4 feet long. Okay. Huge tuna that was caught that morning. And they do a ceremony and they cut the tuna, and that's the tuna that they're serving if you're there for dinner. So like it was so good, so
yeah.
fresh, so good. And then in the ambiance, it's very like, fine dining, high-end luxury. You walk in and you're treated like a queen. That's a big one for me. That's why I love fine dining in
Yes.
Mexico. So that's my favorite hidden gem. There's this taco spot that is Michelin guide and it's so underrated. And I don't even know if I should shout it out because then maybe it might go somewhere. I'm just kidding.
Like, dang, I don't want to
But it's
blow up this.
called Gonzalito. Exactly. I don't want to blow up the spot. But it's called Gonzalitos. And they have the best barbacoa and chicharrón tacos. So, so, so
Mhm.
good. So that's a hidden gem. And then the other one, iconic, I would say there's this seafood. I love seafood, as you can tell, because this one's also a seafood restaurant, but it's not, it's Mexican seafood, not like seafood like sashimi or sushi. It's called Contramar, and they have this really, really good tuna tostada and this like fried fish that's like they do like half of it is green sauce and half of it is red sauce. Oh my God, so good. So yeah, so those are my top three if I had to pick.
Man, that sounds so good. Every time I see videos of Mexico City, it's usually food. And I'm always just like, wow, like I'm adding that to the future list.
There's foods from all over the world, and that's what I think a lot of people when they come here they're so surprised because they're expecting yes, you're going to get good Mexican food, but you're also going to get good of a lot of like all kinds of food. That's what I love about the city because like I don't have to eat Mexican food every single day. Like I can eat whatever I want because there's so many different options. And coming from LA, like that's kind of how it is in LA. You have a lot of different options of food. You don't have to eat one particular food all the time.
Yeah, it's the best thing about living in a big city.
Yeah, exactly.
So if someone were to reach out to you and say that they were coming to Mexico City for the first time, what are like two or three things that you would say that they need to experience like culturally to say that they've like experienced Mexico City?
Okay, number one, this is like super easy because I tell everyone they have to do the hot air balloon ride over the pyramids.
Mm,
That is literally like my top one experience. I mean, it's just so breathtaking. It's such a beautiful experience. Like it's during the sunrise and it's super early. A lot of people are like, I don't like doing it. Like I don't want to do it because, we get picked up at 4 in the morning, but it's like it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like, and then after you can go home and take a nap or go to your hotel and take a nap. That one is a must. And then I'll also share my favorite museum. I've gone to a good amount of museums here, and my favorite museum, and I feel like there is just so much connection and so much history that I learned about like my ancestors and my own history, and like even just understanding more of where I come from is the Anthropology Museum. And that is where the original Aztec calendar is stored. It's such a cool museum. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. So yeah, the hot air balloon and I would say the Anthropology Museum are probably like my two favorite things that I've done here. And then I mean there's a list of like exploring some of the coolest parks. Like I think Chapultepec Park is one of the biggest parks. Don't quote me on this. I don't know if it's in like the biggest park in Latin America or in the world, but I know that it's a giant, massive park. And it's so, so beautiful. And at the top of the park, there's a castle. And that castle is really cool too. So I would say those three things, like the castle with the park, the hot air balloon over the pyramids, and the anthropology museum are for sure like you have to do those when you come.
absolutely. Those sound like really good recommendations, especially the Anthropology Museum. That definitely is like, whoa. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. It's so cool. You can get lost there. You can spend like half a day in there, probably even longer if like you really want to like read. But yeah, I don't even think I went through the entire museum the first time that I went. Actually, I should probably go back and do like a second and third round. But like just that first time I was mind blown. I was like, wow, this is so cool.
That's awesome. So if someone were to ask you for some advice, whether it be traveling to Mexico City for the first time or maybe moving abroad, what would you say to them in regards?
Advice for traveling to Mexico City or moving abroad. I think my number one thing that, I mean, this is advice. A lot of people come to me and ask me a lot of questions, especially because leaving corporate, right? Like, that's like a what? Like, how did you do that? Like, I'm 36. I did that when I was 34. A lot of people are like, what? Like, I mean, even myself, I was like, there's no way that I could start over in my 30s. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is way too late. I'm old. Okay, no, stop right there. You're never too old to start over again. You can pivot as many times as you want. I like to call it the art of the pivot. But what I like to always tell people when they ask me there's a lot of curiosity around like leaving corporate, moving abroad. I actually like to answer their question with a question. And I always ask, are you happy? Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Are you happy with your current life? Regardless of the decision you're trying to make, like, because if you are not happy, then that's something then you need to reflect on. Okay, but if you are happy, like, what's you know why are you wanting to make the change? Is it because you see other people doing it? Is it because you think you're supposed to be doing it too? Is it I don't know, is it because if it's the cool thing to do? I don't know, but I always ask people like, are you happy? Right? Like, I think more than advice, that's what I like to ask. And that question really gets people to be like, wait, actually, a lot of people say they are, and then a lot of people say they aren't. And then the conversation goes from there, depending on, yes, I'm happy, then I encourage them, then just pour more love into what makes you happy. And if you're not happy, then turning inward is the number one advice. Like, you have to look inward because I went through this and I started looking everywhere else except for here, right? Like my heart, except for in my body, in my mind, in my soul. Like, and when I turned inward and I started doing my own work, that's when I started getting answers. So, I mean, more than anything, that's the first question I'll ask. Are you happy before you make any moves, before you make any decisions? And then based on that answer, I kind of just start sharing more of my experiences. What kind of advice do I give people about Mexico City? I think the number one advice, and I think I said this earlier, is walk more than Uber. You're going to have a much better experience if you wander than if you're like, because the other thing too, Mexico City traffic is the worst traffic ever. Like it is terrible. So, like, people that hardly walk when they come and visit and only Uber have a much less pleasant experience because they're stuck in traffic most of the time. And I've heard that before, like, oh my God, the traffic was terrible. And then I'm like, did you walk a lot or were you? Oh yeah, we were Ubering everywhere. I was like, yeah, that was the number one mistake. So I would say wander, walk as much as you can, more than you Uber to get around.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Yeah, that the fact that you asked that question really took me off guard because I've never had someone like answer that question with a question. So I was like, whoa, like that's really a good way to go about it. Like that is amazing.
Yeah, because it's valid. Because like, I don't like my biggest thing as a role model, or if I'm giving someone, I don't know, any advice in like why I made the decisions that I made, I always like to just go deeper than that, and it's like it was because I wasn't happy. So are you happy? Like that's the first question. It's not about like the action that was done. It was like, are you happy? So yeah.
Well, I should have asked this earlier, but if someone were to want to book with you, would they just find you on social media or websites or like how would they go about reaching out to you?
Yes. So right now, the best way, I do have my a website on my link in my bio on Instagram. My handle is at Miss Littlebody, literally just how it sounds, MissLittlebody. I have all my links there. So my website link, and I have my website link on there because I use We Travel, and it's not, I don't have like my formal website. So it's a really, really long website. So if you want to get to that, you could just go through my Instagram bio and then you'll find my CDMX guide there. And then I have my link tree with a bunch of other links that are added on there as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Erica, for coming on and for telling us all about. And I wish you all the best with your future endeavors with everything. It's so beautiful what you're creating.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you reaching out and taking the time to learn more about my story.
Absolutely. Sweet. Thank you again so much.